comrade, Member of Parliament in waiting for this great constituency of West Rural, Comrade Jennifer Housen. Hail woman, officers of the People's National Party, Comrade Councillor Garrett Walker, Councillor caretakers. I want to recognize those who have served in this constituency in the past. I say Comrade Laurel Thomas, here from the Lawrence Tavern Division, many years of service. And to all the comrades, workers, the warriors, the stalwarts, the heroes and the heroines of the People's National Party, one love. Comrades, I am here this evening. First of all, because I want you to know that we value this constituency of West Rural in the People's National Party, and we intend to win it when the trumpet sound. This constituency now has a JLP Member of Parliament, but it's not a JLP constituency. I remember Junior Robinson, who served this constituency with distinction. I remember Clark Clark. I remember Paul Buchanan. And we are going to ensure that the next Member of Parliament is a comrade of the People's National Party, Comrade Jennifer Housen. I am here also because I want to present to you and to show my solidarity and my support to a gifted, young, committed Jamaican woman who has put her whole life to the service of people and the upliftment of people. She's an accomplished attorney. And you're going to hear more about her, you know, because I tell you that we are going to take this matter of the national identification system and the way it has been introduced and champion the rights in the courts of Jamaica. And this attorney is part of the team that you will hear more about in the course of the next few days. But I want to tell you more. Wherever she has lived, she has devoted her life to the defense of people's rights. And you hear it again this evening, that she's here to provide service to you, to defend the rights of the coffee farmers, to defend the rights of the people to get better service in relation to water, to schooling, better roads, better education, better service for all the people of the country, and particularly the people here in West Rural St. Andrew. So I want to hail up this woman. And I tell you why further. I know she wants to sit down, but I'm not make her sit down here. The real seat she's going to take is the seat in Parliament. But I tell you why I'm so proud of her too. Because we want more women in service in the Parliament of Jamaica. Because the truth is, right throughout Jamaica, the People's National Party, the workers are mainly the women who give us service. They can't just work in a constituency day and night as area leader and canvasser. We want them taking their seat in the Parliament of Jamaica, and this is one such woman. We are proud of the women of Jamaica, and I for one love woman, Charbon. I tell you, we have had 2 years now. 2 years of hard labor, which is the sentence that Jamaica get in February 2016. And the sentence not done yet. But we know now that those people came to power on a wave of false promises. They promised to double the minimum wage. I know plenty of people that believe, say, money was going to run the day after. From the day them win, them start talk about double minimum wage. But from even before election, they was talking about 18,000 and 1.5 million. We told them it couldn't be done. But like macaroni, them just charge headlong in it. No. Few people get a benefit in less taxes, income tax. But them said they was going to do it without raising taxes. And every single one of us who stand up here tonight has had to face a tax bill of $31 billion that has made life harder and harder for the majority of the people, and especially the poorest people in the country. Because of that $31 billion of taxes, food price gone up, electricity gone up, cooking gas gone up, car price, gas for car gone up, transport gone up, every striking thing gone up. Only thing we're gone down is the coffee price. So your tax gone up and your income gone down. And that equal hardship, false promises. They promised that they were going to control crime. Man takes it and say, oh, you're going to sleep with your door and your window open, all you have to do is elect him. No. As you hear before, the only people who are sleep with them door open or them window open is either them gone home drunk or have a plan to leave quick before the gunman come. But I want you to understand, even the problems with the police and the problems with crime going up is because of the same bad policy choices that the government is making. Put it simply, they don't know what they are doing. Them raised the 31 billion so much because of the false promise. Them could not provide enough money to police, so police have car, but them not have gas in the car. Car without gas can't move. Macaroni business that. All right. Them couldn't buy tires for the police. So if the police not have no car and the car not have no gas, then when criminal walk, police can't make no difference. So crime gone up. Crime last year was 20%, murders were 20% higher than when Peter Bunting left it in 2016. And this year, up to this date, despite 2 state of emergency and 2 ZOZO, murders are still 12% over what they were last year. And last year was one of the worst years we have ever had. We have told them again and again and again that state of emergency is not a plan to deal with crime. State of emergency is a sign that you have no plan. It's a sign that any plan you had has failed. Because a state of emergency, by definition, is to be used only in emergency circumstances. It can't go on so forever and ever. And it is a dangerous thing to use all the time. And here why? Here why? Because a state of emergency allows the security forces to take away any rights that people might have. And that is why the law is designed that it must only exist for a short time. That's why you have to go to Parliament every 30 days to get it renewed, because it was never designed to be used all the time. And when, hear what happened in St. James. I don't know the numbers for St. Catherine, but them lock up over 1,000 young people. Keep them in jail. Some of them keep for a few days. I will even say most of them keep for a few days. Some reports of them lose their work. Them charge 100 and odd. That means now 900 and odd. Them just lock them up. Now, I hear the Minister of National Security say no human rights have been affected. But I can tell you that as a parent, if you take up my youth and I can't find him and him locked up for days and I don't know where he is, I feel his human rights have been taken away. And it is a sign that they don't understand. And they don't care. Because it's not their children that are being locked up in this way. We get too used to certain things in Jamaica. We get too used to a view that poor people have no rights. To a view that them not count. And that you can do anything, anytime. Once is not you being affected. It is not right. 44 of those people in jail now in St. James are being locked up without charges. They have The lawyers have gone to the tribunal, set up the tribunal, say, we can't hear the case. So what is to happen to them? I don't support criminals. But you cannot fight crime by trampling on the rights of the innocent. No country can run so. And this is just one signal of the kind of inequality that is still too much a part of the present day reality of life in Jamaica. You know, one of the strangest things since we are talking about police and crime. Because one of the things that gone up in the country, remember say hardship gone up and crime gone up, corruption gone up. But here the part of the corruption I want to talk about is now is a strange thing. They said they were going to buy used cars for police. The only police force in the world, 180 countries in the world, but only one want to buy a used car for police, Jamaica. Them paid $200 million, $236 million. Supposed to get 200 cars, but it's only 30 come. 30 come. Them say 60 more supposed to come, but we don't hear nothing about it. 2 years now, $200 million, 30 cars. And that is the Ministry of Security. Them supposed to stop scamming, but that look like that is the mother of all scam. They're gone. But to make matters worse, and I believe you me, I don't envy a man him ride. If you want to drive 2 BMW and 2 Range Rover, if you can afford it out of your money, do it. But hear me now. $200 million to buy 200 cars for police and $200 million to buy 14 cars for minister. What kind of equality is that in a country where poverty is walking across the land? And where crime is destroying the livelihood of people. You have another problem of corruption in the Ministry of Security itself, at the FLA, Firearm Licensing Authority. It would be funny when I just say a macaroni business if it wasn't so sad. One side of the ministry is supposed to control crime. And the other side of the ministry, the FLA, give gun license to criminals. They don't know what they are doing. And we cannot afford as a country to face that kind of hardship on top of the hardship that we already face because of the difficult circumstances of history. And I want to say something because it highlights the problem of bad governance. And I'm talking about the problem at the Cornwall Regional Hospital. Plenty people don't understand the issue. But I can tell you the problem. The problem is that we have a building that you can only describe as a poisoned building. Last year, in February, the chief medical officer and all the officials, the technical people in the ministry, advised the Minister of Health, close the hospital, evacuate the building because the medical staff is reporting sick. The minister overruled that decision. Well, you have that power. But if you overrule the decision and you get it wrong, somebody should be held accountable. But that is not what I am focusing on now. What happened is that since him overturned that decision, more than 167 nurses, doctors and others have reported ill. Some of them bleeding through parts of the body that they shouldn't bleed through. Some of them skin change color. Some of them have had breathing problems. There are even reports of deaths which have not been conclusively related to the building, but we don't know. There are reports that members of the medical personnel's family, like your mother is a nurse and you come down with some illness too. There are reports that patients have suffered. We don't know how many. Right now at the hospital, some of us went down there, including Vicar McNeil and Peyton Campbell, and I want to hail Peyton Campbell, our Shadow Minister of Health, who has been carrying this battle. We find people undergoing hardship at the hospital last week. Despite all the efforts that they're making to close the building now, 1.5 years later. Because of the bad planning, you have people sit down in the hospital, accident and emergency, 4 days, can't get a bed. Admit to hospital, can't get a bed. Man operation on him foot, 2 weeks, sit down in a chair in hardship. They can say they don't think it's a great problem only because it's not them suffering the hardship. And that is the problem of bad treatment of poor people in Jamaica that the People's National Party come to put an end to. That is why we came into existence. That is why we exist. We have called for an inquiry into the situation at Cornwall region. The minister said I'm not having no inquiry. We are not asking for us, the PNP, to appoint the inquirers. We say it must be an independent inquiry. Ask the Nurses Association to name someone or people that they think should be appropriate. Ask the Doctors Association to name some people. Ask the relevant departments at the university to name people, and they can pick. But it cannot be a witch hunt to find out how many Jamaican nurses may have been affected by the situation at Cornwall Regional. It cannot be a witch hunt to find out whether their families and their children have been affected. It cannot be a witch hunt to find out what is wrong with the building. We need to know Every day they tell us that it is all right and something else happened. People need the assurance that when they say it is fixed, it is actually fixed. The minister says what he wants to do is to examine the maintenance record. Then let the inquiry do that too. We have no problem with that. What we are seeking is not a political advantage for the People's National Party. What we are seeking is an improvement of the quality of health care for the people of Western Jamaica and the people of Jamaica generally. That's what we're seeking. The fact is, we have a Jamaica which is scarred and divided into two different experiences of life. You have one Jamaica that can afford the best health care in the world that dollars can buy. And you have another set of people who have to suffer with a public health system that is creaking to a halt. You have one Jamaica with one set of schools, some traditional high school, name brand high school. And I am happy that plenty of people get access, plenty of poor people, children get access to these high schools. But we still have too many schools across the country where the children don't even pass one subject after 5 years of schooling. We have one Jamaica that afford them own private security guard on them yard and lock up them yard all day long, and another Jamaica have to fret to leave them yard when night comes. The reason why the People's National Party came into existence was to remove these differences and to ensure progress for all. That was our mission in 1938. That was the mission when Michael Manley was walking with the rod of Joshua across this land. And that was the mission of P.J. Patterson and Portia Simpson Miller, and that is our mission now. And I tell you, poverty is not an accident, but it is a sin. And we believe that there are some things that keep people poor. One of those things which you can see in this constituency is that there is unequal access to land. People have farmland, but them have no title to the land. Them can't go bank and borrow money to improve their conditions, buy a little transport to move them coffee or them yam or them carrot or cabbage or whatever. Our mission in the People's National Party in our next term is to change that historical condition. We are going to have the most far-reaching land titling effort ever seen in the island of Jamaica. When we start talking about land, we hear the other people them say them support land titling. So I am glad. But them say them will do 7,000 a year over the next 3 years. That means that it would take about 3 decades or 4 decades to deal with the problem that we see. We intend to solve this problem in the lifetime of the next Parliament of Jamaica. We are also determined to have a new deal for agriculture. That is why we give Fenton Ferguson the mission of rural development. It's not just land titling. We want a rather not just working for one color people. We want a rather willing to give service to all the farmers, no matter what political persuasion. We want modern farming, not with hoe and machete alone. We want modern farming that using handheld tractors with irrigation, so you can go and get the money to do the pump that can move the water from the river where runs side of you into the fields. We can't depend on source of rain for modern day agriculture. We have to ensure, because we will only solve the problem of poverty when the creative people who are the base of our economy get a chance to step up in our life and produce more and earn more. And that is why we are also going to focus on small business. I just got to the expo yesterday, I spent about 3 hours. And when I see what the ordinary people of Jamaica are doing with cassava flour, breadfruit flour, chips, people with sorrel and develop a sorrel reaping machine, ordinary Jamaican people, I am more than ever convinced that the future of this economy, what is going to give us the real growth in the country, is when we lift all the people, and especially the small and micro enterprise. Too much man on the side of the road are operating garage. We want him to have his own garage shop in the full way. Too much woman with a one machine in our veranda. We want her to move into proper surroundings and get the money from the bank. That's why we support the effort of Fitzjackson to make the banks operate more reasonably. So comrades, if we want to see progress for all, I need you to ensure that Jennifer Housen is the next Member of Parliament for West Rural Central. Are you ready for Jennifer to be your next Member of Parliament? She has the answer to better representation. She has the heart of caring for the interests of the people. She has the full support of the People's National Party, and she has the vision to build a better life for all the people. One love, comrades, one heart, until we meet again.